All right. Well, hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into the webinar for the Iowa Child Abuse Prevention Program Evaluation Report. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you all mute your microphones to cut back on background noise. My name is Lindsay McShannon, and I'm a research analyst with Public Consulting Group. Public Consulting Group has contracted with PCA Iowa to assist in the evaluation of ICAPP funded programs. This presentation will cover the period of July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. I see that some people are unable to hear me, but there should be a call-in number if that's an option for you, if you can't hear me through the computer. So questions are welcome throughout the presentation at designated opportunities. When we reach a question slide, please feel free to unmute your microphones and ask a question or provide insight. In between pauses, if a question comes up or you need technical assistance, go ahead and type your response to the presenter. There is a comments box, and I have that chat box open in case anyone does have comments throughout the presentation. But please, again, leave your microphone muted through the presentation outside of the designated pauses for questions. In this presentation, I will provide an overview of the Iowa Child Abuse Prevention Program, its successes, the program evaluation methodology, characteristics of the program participants, the protective factor survey results, the ICAPP community development grants, and a final wrap-up. So we'll get started with an introduction to this project. PCA Iowa's mission is to strengthen families to create a stronger, healthier Iowa. PCA Iowa administers the Iowa Child Abuse Prevention Program, also known as ICAPP, as well as the community-based Child Abuse Prevention Program, known as CBCAP. These programs started separately but have since merged. We'll be looking at their reach separately for this presentation. PCA Iowa also oversees the program operations, provides training and technical assistance to programs funded by these dollars, and provides feedback about the successes and challenges of the community agency's efforts. PCA Iowa is contracted with Public Consulting Group to assist in the evaluation of ICAPP and CBCAP funded programs. Funds appropriated for ICAPP go to Iowa Department of Human Services, which then contracts with PCA Iowa to administer the program, as has been practiced since 1982. This is a mix of state and federal funding streams that funds local child abuse prevention councils to provide maltreatment services to families through the state through contracts with IDHS. Programs funded by this grant include respite and crisis care, home visiting, parent development, sexual abuse prevention, and community development. As you can see, more than 2,500 families were served by this funding through the reporting period. Nearly 40,000 children were served by this funding in the same time frame. Data missing from the chart are not currently being tracked. The second funding stream is CBCAP, which is funded through a provision of the Federal Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, also known as CAPTA. The funds are awarded to community partnerships for protecting children, or CPPC sites, who are seeking to provide services to families across the state. CAPTA grants are used to develop and implement programs, services, supports, and policies to positively impact families and protect children from abuse. Programs funded by CBCAP include crisis care, parent development, and fatherhood programs. More than 2,300 families and more than 3,000 parents and children were served by this grant last year. Hours of care for fatherhood and parent development programs are not currently being tracked. Some are still not able to hear me. I don't know if this is, are there people who can hear me right now?
I can hear you.
Okay, there should be a call-in number when you connect to this webinar. They give you an option to call in with your phone versus listening through your computer. So during the reporting period, ICAPP and CBCAP funded programs operate in all but 8 counties in the state of Iowa, giving coverage to 92% of the state. A total of 18 counties only had ICAPP services, 21 counties offered only CBCAP funded services, but the majority, 52 counties, received funding from both ICAPP and CBCAP. The successes of the program. Programs funded by ICAPP and CBCAP have provided services to demographically diverse populations, demonstrated statistically significant changes in protective factor scores across domains and program types, served more than 4,000 families across 93 Iowa counties during the reporting period, and reached thousands more through community development grant-funded primary prevention activities. I'm quickly going to provide an overview of the evaluation methodology. Survey data is analyzed in a way that helps to describe demographic characteristics of program participants, assess changes in the protective factors that have been targeted, and inform ongoing evaluation. There were several data sources used in this evaluation. The first is the Iowa Family Services, the Iowa Family Survey, which includes the Protective Factor Survey, or PFS, as we'll refer to it, and the PFS-2 that touches on respite and crisis care and family demographic questions. Another data source is service output data, which includes the number of families, parents, and children served, as well as the funding received. The Protective Factor Survey was developed by Friends National Center for Community-Based Child Abuse Prevention and the University of Kansas Institute for Educational Research and Public Services, which was provided by the U.S. Department of Education. It is comprised of 20 self-contained questions with a 7-item micro scale. Adult caregivers are asked to complete this survey after and periodically develop the training program is then exchanged. There are 5 protective factor domains: child development and knowledge of parenting, concrete support, family function and resilience, nurturing and attachment, and sexual emotional support. The Protective Factor Survey 2 is a retrospective version of the PFS with a 5-item Likert scale. This survey asks respondents to answer questions based on their life before involvement in the program and now, meaning the time that the survey is being taken. This is asked on a single survey instead of the pre-post method that's used on the initial PFS. This survey is more sensitive to changes in protective factors, simplifies administration, and is more culturally constant than the PFS survey. The protective factor domains for this survey include social support, family functioning and resilience, nurturing and attachment, concrete support, and the caregiver-practitioner relationship. Progress is measured by scoring each participant's responses. In the PFS, a participant's scores are added up and divided by the total number of questions in a domain, which range from 3 to 5 questions. Scores are not calculated for participants who skip more than one question in the domain. The overall averages are calculated by adding up participant scores and dividing by the total number of participants assigned a score. If the difference between average pre- and post-test survey scores is statistically significant, it means that the change is not due to chance. 738 participants completed both a pre- and post-survey for PFS, where no more than one question was skipped in each of the 5 domains. 56 participants completed the PFS-2 survey, where no more than one question was skipped in their domain. An individual scores were averaged by domain and compared using t-tests to determine if scores improved, worsened, or stayed the same. So at this point, I'll take a moment to pause. Are there any questions that have come up? All right, there don't appear to be any questions, so I will keep going. So now we'll get into the characteristics of the program participants. Family demographics from the survey show that those being served by ICAPP and CBCAP are more racially and ethnically diverse, make less money, and have a lower education level than the general Iowa population. Most participants in ICAPP and CBCAP funded programs are between 30 and 39 years of age. So at this point, I'll start getting into the survey results. All 5 domains showed a statistically significant improvement after averaging pre- and post-protective factor scores. The largest change in scores were in the concrete support and child development and parenting domains. This graphic shows that the largest proportion of families had scores that improved in concrete support, with 14% showing improvement and 17% greatly improving. Across domains, half of participants or more had no change in score, meaning scores changed less than 1 point from pre to post surveys. The highest proportion of families with no change were in the nurturing and attachment domain, which is also the domain that had the highest average scores, leaving little room for improvement. Please note that in this slide, the red text indicates a decrease in scores. Those who discharged early for nearly all reasons showed a decrease in scores in various domains. This implies that leaving the program before successful completion may have a negative impact on their ability to build protective factors. This indicates a potential need to prioritize the continued engagement of participants trying to leave or quit the program. Some improvements among non-completers were statistically significant, but smaller in magnitude in comparison to completers. This section will provide a breakdown of protective factor scores by demographic characteristics. When child development and parenting protective factor scores were examined for differences among demographic groups, scores increased significantly from pre to post tests among a number of different groups. Women who reported they were Hispanic, white, married, single, or partnering all had statistically significant increases in scores. Increases were also seen in households made up of more than one person, participants aged 26 to 45, and both English and Spanish speakers. The group with the highest increase in average scores was those who completed a program. As in child development, statistically significant differences in concrete support from pre to post survey were seen in a wide range of demographic categories. Most of the statistically significant differences were found among groups who showed improvements as opposed to declines in scores. When scores did increase significantly, the differences from pre to post survey were generally more than in other domains. Divorced, married, and single participants all improved at a statistically significant level in concrete support, as did participants in most income levels. Both participants above and below the federal poverty level had statistically significant increases in scores. Those with some high school education to a 2-year degree also had scores that increased significantly. One group that did not improve in concrete support was families who identified as Asian. Their scores decreased significantly from 4.87 to 3.89. However, it is important to note that the sample size for this population was small. In contrast, Hispanics and whites had statistically significant increases in scores, with Hispanic average scores increasing the most. As in other domains, improvements in protective factor scores and family functioning and resiliency were seen among many categories of participants. However, in some instances, it appears that different participants reached greater benefits in this domain than in others. Caregivers improved in family functioning that did not see improvements in other domains. For example, men, Asians, those with a middle school or lower education level, and those whose primary language was not English or Spanish showed increased scores. Not only did these groups improve, but they improved by larger margins than other groups. This may indicate that programs are specifically targeting members of these groups for more support in family functioning and resilience. No group experienced statistically significant decreases in scores. Nurturing and attachment is the domain in which families reported the highest overall scores both on pre- and post surveys. Fewer demographic groups had statistically significant increases in scores, and none showed decreases. Like family functioning, both women and men improved significantly, as did Asians and whites, those who were married, living in households between 3 and 5 members, and those with incomes between $10,000 and $20,000. Both those above and below the poverty line showed improved scores. Characteristics of participants with the greatest amount of improvement in family functioning scores included those indicating that they are Asian or another race or ethnic group, divorced and separated individuals, households of more than 6, education level of no more than middle school or trade vocational training, those who completed the program or their child aged out, caregivers with a disability, and caregivers between the ages of 46 and 50. Following the trend with the other domains, social support scores increased significantly among a wide variety of demographic categories. The largest increase was observed among those with a middle school education or lower. Although not shown, their scores increased from 4.91 to 5.96. Women, white participants, those who were married, partnering, or single, households of 2 to 4, and caregivers with a disability also reported statistically significant increases. I know this is a lot of information, but are there any questions that have come up? Somebody has asked, is Hispanic a race or an ethnic group in the data? I believe that it is considered a race in the data, but I can double check that and I will follow up with Abby. Are there any more questions? All right, if not, then we'll keep going. So this section will get into the participation and protective factor scores broken down by program type. Respite and Crisis Care Services received just over $250,000 from ICAPP and CBCAP. More than 700 families, roughly 1,000 parents, and more than 1,000 children are served by this funding. The majority of those who participated in respite and crisis care programs were white, married women who either rented or owned their homes, had a high school diploma or GED, were Medicaid eligible, and were between the ages of 21 and 30 years of age. Respite and crisis care participants were more likely to receive support from Medicaid than any other public service program. This figure displays the PSS2 results among respite and crisis care participants. Scores among participants increased at a statistically significant level in the caregiver-practitioner relationship, family functioning, nurturing and attachment, and social support domains. On the retrospective survey, caregivers are only asked about concrete support before enrollment, so improvement cannot be measured for this domain. Scores on this survey were highest in the caregiver-practitioner relationship domain and improved the most in social-emotional support. Out of 574 surveys submitted by home visiting program participants, 246 completed both pre- and post surveys. The figure on the left displays the average, the figure here displays the average home visiting scores in each of the 5 domains. Participants had the highest scores in nurturing and attachment both on pre- and post surveys, while the lowest scores were in family functioning and resiliency. Analysis of the survey showed statistically significant increases in protective factors scores in child development and parenting, concrete support, and nurturing and attachment. In addition to examining home visiting results overall, protective factor scores were analyzed for each model, Parents as Teachers, or PAT, and Healthy Families America, also known as HFA. A total of 189 PAT program participants completed both pre- and post-survey, while 57 participants of HFA completed both pre- and post-surveys. This figure displays the protective factor scores of both models. PAT participants showed minimal increases between pre- and post-survey protective factor scores in every domain except concrete support, and child development and parenting, which were both statistically significant. Among caregivers participating in HSA, child development and parenting scores increased significantly. And Abby did correct me, Hispanic and Latino is collected as ethnicity. Thanks, Abby. All domains saw a statistically significant increase in scores for parent development and fatherhood survey respondents. Child development and parenting and family functioning and resiliency had the largest increases between pre- and post-survey scores. These results indicate the program is having one of the greatest impacts on participants across domains. In fiscal year 2018, $279,219 were awarded for sexual abuse prevention services. Most projects utilize both adult-focused and child-focused intervention, as you can see on the tables in this slide. ICAPP funds support 31 sexual abuse prevention projects, and some councils provide services in more than one county. 28 projects reached 35,030 children and 2,600 adults, while 22 additional projects reached more than 2,500 adults. 99.5% of respondents agreed that the training they received improved their ability to protect children from sexual abuse. 99.5% of respondents also agreed that the training improved their ability to help them get help, with only 2 strongly disagreeing. Finally, we're going to take a look at the role of ICAPP Community Development Grants. Community development grants assist councils to generate awareness and action toward child abuse prevention goals in their communities. Grants can be used for council development, community needs assessments, program development, public awareness, community mobilization, collaboration, or network building. These grants made up just over 1% of the overall amount of ICAPP money awarded in the fiscal year 2018. Councils reach thousands of people by hosting workshops and trainings, recruiting members and volunteers, hosting and participating in community events, and spreading prevention messages through print and social media. At this point, we'll wrap up with conclusions from the survey period. During this reporting period, ICAPP and CBCAP funded programs have been particularly successful in promoting protective factors across all domains among the families they serve. Areas of focus should be shifted to target areas with the few special populations where improvement was not observed. Prevention programs should use these results for program planning, evaluation, and continuous quality improvement as they continue their work to prevent child maltreatment. So this is the final opportunity for any questions. So is there anything that you're still wondering about or any clarification on? Okay. Well, if there aren't any questions, thank you so much for your time today. My contact information can be found on this slide. Please reach out if any questions do come up, or if you need anything for any reason at all. And if there are no further questions, oh, there is one question. Can we get the surveys in Spanish, please? Jennifer, I can look into that. And I can add.
Yeah. The protective factor surveys are, we have those in Spanish. We don't have the PFS2, which we're using for crisis care programs. But, Jennifer, yes, if you want to message me in the chat box, you can put it directly to me, but what your email is, and I can send you the information.
That's great. Thank you, Abby. All right, and I think that's all for me. Again, feel free to reach out if you need anything at all. Thank you for tuning in today.
Thanks, Lindsay.